guys, it's been a few weeks since I did my first garden video. Today I want to take a few minutes to just give you an update. Things are kind of still a mess, but still yet a lot has changed, so I just want to show you what has changed. I built a worm composting bin. I don't have any worms in it yet. Online it said to build it and then to wait 2 weeks before you put your worms in it, and so that's what I'm doing. So maybe this upcoming week I'll put the worms in, but I'm going to show you that system that I built just using 3 5-gallon buckets that I got free at a bakery from our local grocery store. In the bottom bucket is empty, and the other buckets have holes in them where the juices from the top 2 buckets can flow down into that bottom bucket, and that makes a composted tea that you can add water to it and spray it on the plant. So it's just a really good fertilizer. And in the middle bucket is where I prepared the bed in there for my worms. Now online it said to do this 2 weeks prior to putting your worms in, to let the bacteria begin to build up in the buckets and so that it will be ready for the worms. And I saw some people added their worms right away, but I'm going to hopefully be adding mine this coming week. But in the second bucket there is some organic materials like shredded newspaper and leaves, and we put food scraps in there. That's where that middle bucket right there is where the worms will go at first, and I will feed them in that middle bucket for a while, and then I will stop feeding them and I will let the worms crawl from this second bucket up into this top bucket. There's holes in that top bucket, so they'll crawl up in there and then they'll begin to eat in that top bucket. I'll take this middle bucket out, and that will be, oh, I can't think what it's called right now. But anyway, worm castings, that's what it is. The worm castings will be in that second bucket, and the worms will, like I say, most of them will go out of that into the top bucket. And then I will move this top bucket, the new feed bed, down into the second bucket position. I'll redo this middle bucket. I'll put it back on top, and it will just be a continual flow of making worm casting fertilizer for my plants and for my garden. Alright, well, that's it for that. So I'll let you guys know how that little project turns out, if it actually works out for me. I believe it will. I hope so. This right here, hopefully you can see it. This is some spinach. These are in cups, and I just went ahead and put them into this larger container. And so far, they're doing pretty good. And then here are my lettuces, same thing. And then back here, I have some basil. And here is more lettuces and onions and more basil and tomatoes and cabbage and just all different kinds of things. And then here, more green beans, some of the larger plants down here, if you can see. Some more tomatoes. There's some cherry tomatoes, sweet peas, cantaloupes, cucumbers. I'm actually having a problem right here, if you can see this. The leaves on some of my cucumbers are turning spotty yellow. I did some research, and it could be different things, but I believe that it's a deficiency in something. So I added some Epsom salt. I added some more chicken poop just to the top and watered that in, and hopefully that's going to fix it. If not, I'll keep trying to figure it out. I noticed back here that this morning, for the first time, I noticed I had a bloom on these sweet peas, so that's exciting. These are, all of these were planted at the same time, but for some reason, this bucket right here is doing so well. They're just really shooting up. And if you can see, I have more in there, and some are doing better than others, and I don't know why. And I have more of these plants in another location. I just didn't want them to completely engulf my deck here, but it's just the same things, just more of them. Okay, if you can see over here, my nephew brought my pallets. I keep wanting to call them pallets. And so we started building a compost bin, and hopefully we'll get that finished this week. Okay, I'm going to walk down and show you my garden. I had my husband bring some soil out of the woods. Actually, he dug a little bit deeper than I wanted him to. I really just wanted some really topsoil. But anyway, I've been using that, and I've been mixing with sand, and then I've been using chicken manure also in the plants, trying to use what's on the land as much as possible. And there's my neighbor's guineas in my front yard, if you can see that. You can definitely hear them hollering. Okay, I began to remove the cardboard back, and I did go ahead and I planted straight into the garden. These are fall crops. They can handle some frost. I planted broccoli and cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and collard greens in this area right here. And as you can see, I still have a few squash plants. I've already ripped most of them up and thrown them into the compost, but I still have some plants that are still producing. If you can see here, still have some squash on there. But most of those plants are gone. My tomatoes, I'm still waiting on those things to turn red. It was just so hot. I did some research online. Actually, we have had a few turn red, but just not that many. But now, as you can see, they are finally starting to turn red. And it said that it was because if it's too hot outside, then they don't produce a certain chemical that they need in order to turn red. So I hope that they do. And if not, you know what? We'll just take them in, and we'll just have fried green tomatoes. I really want them to turn red, though. Okay. Some more of the fall plants. Okay, moving on across. It's time to pull him on up. He'll get pulled up here in a day or two. Actually, if you can see, he's still producing a little bit too. Going over to my melons. It's about time just to go ahead and take all these up. But I've delayed in pulling them up because I still see some cantaloupes growing. And I believe we still have another month. Let's see, we may have longer than that. 2 months before the first frost, at least a month and a half. So, you know, hey, if they're still, if the vines are hanging in there and they're still growing, I'm going to let them grow. You can see we have that. There's another one over there, and then one there. He doesn't look too hot, and then there's 2 more there. So they are still growing. And goodness gracious, I missed him. Check him out. He's got a rotten spot on him, so he'll get thrown away. I didn't see him, or I would have gotten him in. And actually, there's a lot of ants down there. If you can see that, I'm still getting some cucumbers. I can't believe that we're still getting some cucumbers. They don't look all that great, but I am still getting some. Check him out. My goodness. Look at that. I ain't never seen a donut cucumber. Okay, the heat really did a job on them. I just wanted to look and see here. Most of them are completely dried up. So it's time to take them up. Here's another little baby. Yep, they're pretty much at the end. Time to take that up. And actually, I'll kind of be excited just to go ahead and get that out of here. Get these vines out of here and get everything cleaned up. That tree has been dead, but after we started planting the garden, it fell, and we didn't want to take a chance messing up the plants to pull it out, so that has to be cleaned up as well as soon as I can get around to doing that. I always forget something, and I did. I was going to show you this. I still do have, I don't know why I planted these at the same time. These are peppers, and I planted them on August 8th. But you can see they're still tiny, but that's okay. I still have hopes for them, but I haven't transplanted them yet into anything bigger. And then these are eggplants. Actually, I planted these on the 7th. And they're a slow grower too. They're just now really getting their true leaves, but I got something eating on them. I don't know what, if you can see that. I don't know what in the world that is. So if any of you guys know how to deal with that, something eating on my little eggplants. They don't like peppers. They're not eating my peppers, but they're eating the eggplant. And if you know anything about how to deal with these yellow spots, I'd appreciate anything that you could tell me about that. All right, well, that's all. God bless you guys. I love you. Bye-bye.